Imagine jumping from an aircraft into a freezing storm, landing deep behind enemy lines, not to fight, but to save a life. Some of the world's toughest military operators have one mission above all else: that others may live. They are expected to parachute into combat zones, dive through dark oceans, climb dangerous mountains, and treat critically injured people under enemy fire. Every second matters, and every decision can mean the difference between life and death. But almost no one sees what it takes to earn the Maroon Beret of a United States Air Force Pararescueman, better known as a PJ. The journey is long, the training is relentless, and only a small number of volunteers make it to the end. This is the brutal journey to becoming a U.S. Air Force Pararescueman.
Before anyone can become a pararescueman, they must first understand what the job truly demands. A United States Air Force Pararescueman, or PJ, is a highly trained Special Operations Rescue Specialist whose primary mission is to recover and provide emergency medical care to people in the world's most dangerous environments. Whether it's a downed pilot trapped behind enemy lines, a wounded Special Operations team in remote mountains, or civilians stranded after a natural disaster, PJs are trained to reach places where almost no one else can. Their mission is summed up in 4 simple words: that others may live.
This motto is more than a slogan. It represents a lifelong commitment to risking their own lives so others have a chance to survive. Unlike many military specialties that focus on direct combat, pararescuemen combine elite rescue skills with advanced medical training. They learn to parachute from aircraft, conduct helicopter rescue operations, dive in open water, survive in hostile environments, climb difficult terrain, and provide life-saving trauma care under extreme pressure. Every mission is different. One day, they may be rescuing a fighter pilot after an aircraft crash. Another day, they could be evacuating injured soldiers under enemy fire, or responding to a humanitarian disaster where every second counts. Because of these responsibilities, the selection and training process is considered one of the longest and most demanding in the U.S. military.
For those who dream of wearing the Maroon Beret, the journey doesn't begin on the battlefield. It begins with a single decision: to raise their right hand and join the United States Air Force. Every pararescueman begins in the same place, not on a battlefield, but as an ordinary civilian with an extraordinary goal. For many, the dream starts years before they ever wear a uniform. Some are inspired by military service, others by the desire to save lives under the most difficult conditions. But ambition alone is never enough. The first step is joining the United States Air Force. Before earning a chance to become a pararescueman, every applicant must meet the Air Force's enlistment requirements. They complete medical examinations, background screening, aptitude testing, and physical evaluations designed to determine whether they are fit for military service.
Those hoping to enter the special warfare career field face an even greater challenge. Candidates must demonstrate exceptional physical fitness. Running, swimming, strength, endurance, and mental resilience are all evaluated long before formal training begins. Every workout becomes a test of discipline because the instructors are not simply looking for athletic ability. They are looking for people who refuse to quit when exhausted. Those who qualify can receive a special warfare contract, giving them the opportunity to compete for a place in the pararescue training pipeline. But receiving the contract is not the same as becoming a PJ. It is simply permission to begin. Ahead lies months of relentless preparation, where every day pushes candidates closer to their physical and mental limits.
Many who arrive full of confidence will soon discover that determination alone is not enough. The real selection process is about to begin. Assessment and selection. For every candidate standing at the starting line, the goal seems simple: earn the right to continue. But the instructors see things differently. They are not searching for the fastest runner or the strongest swimmer. They are looking for people who can stay calm under pressure,
make good decisions while exhausted, and keep moving when every part of their body tells them to stop. The assessment process begins with demanding physical tests, long-distance runs, swimming evaluations, strength exercises, and endurance events quickly expose weaknesses that months of preparation may have failed to reveal.
As the days continue, fatigue begins to build. Sleep becomes limited. Muscles ache. Small mistakes become costly. Every challenge is designed to test not only physical ability, but discipline, teamwork, and mental resilience. One of the greatest obstacles is water confidence. Candidates spend long periods in the water performing controlled exercises while remaining calm under stress. Panic can quickly lead to failure, so learning to control fear becomes just as important as physical strength. Throughout the selection process, instructors constantly observe every candidate. They watch who encourages teammates instead of thinking only about themselves. They notice who remains focused after setbacks and who continues performing when exhaustion takes over. Some candidates discover that the pressure is greater than they expected. Others suffer injuries or realize they are not yet ready for the demands ahead. Those who leave are not forced out. Many make the difficult decision to withdraw on their own, understanding that the road ahead only becomes harder. For the small group that successfully completes assessment, there is no celebration.
They have not earned the Maroon Beret. They have only earned the opportunity to begin one of the longest and most demanding special operations training pipeline in the United States military. The first challenge waiting for them is Special Warfare Preparatory Course, where every day is designed to build the foundation for everything that follows. The brutal training pipeline. Passing assessment and selection is a major achievement, but for future pararescuemen, it is only the beginning.
Before candidates can attend the advanced schools that make up the pararescue pipeline, they enter the Special Warfare Preparatory Course, a program designed to build the physical fitness, confidence, and discipline needed for the challenges ahead. From the very first morning, the pace is relentless. The day often begins before sunrise. Candidates quickly prepare their equipment, form up with their teams, and begin hours of demanding physical training. Long-distance runs test endurance. Strength workouts push every major muscle group. Pool sessions develop swimming technique, breath control, and confidence in the water. Every activity has a purpose. The instructors are not trying to create bodybuilders. They are preparing rescue specialists who may one day have to swim through rough water, carry injured survivors across difficult terrain, or continue working after hours of physical exhaustion. As the weeks pass, recovery becomes just as important as training. Candidates learn that proper nutrition, hydration, and teamwork can make the difference between improvement and injury. Mistakes are corrected immediately. Poor technique is repeated until it becomes second nature. Attention to detail is expected in everything, from physical training to wearing the uniform correctly. The standards never become easier. Instead, the candidates become stronger. Slowly, confidence begins to replace uncertainty. The body adapts. The mind becomes more disciplined. And the habits needed to survive the rest of the training pipeline start to take shape. By the end of the preparatory course, every candidate understands one important lesson. Raw determination may have brought them this far, but success from this point forward will depend on consistency, discipline, and the ability to perform under constant pressure. Soon, they will leave the training field behind and travel to one of the most recognized military schools in the United States. Their next challenge? Airborne School. After weeks of relentless preparation, the candidates move to one of the most recognizable military training schools in the United States, Airborne School. For many, this is the first time they will step onto a military aircraft knowing they are expected to jump from it. Before anyone leaves the ground, every movement is practiced repeatedly. Candidates learn how to properly wear and inspect their parachute equipment, exit the aircraft,
maintain body position in the air, and land safely on the ground. The smallest mistake can increase the risk of injury, so every procedure is taught with precision and repeated until it becomes automatic. Training begins on the ground. They practice parachute landing techniques over and over again, conditioning their bodies to absorb impact from different directions. Next come the training towers. From elevated platforms, candidates rehearse aircraft exits and suspended harness drills, building confidence while instructors correct every movement. Only after demonstrating consistent performance do they move to the final stage.
The jump phase. Standing inside the aircraft, the noise of the engines fills the cabin. Heavy equipment rests on every candidate's shoulders. As the aircraft reaches the drop zone, the jump master gives the final commands. The door opens. Cold air rushes inside. One by one, each candidate steps into the open sky. For a brief moment, there is only the sound of rushing wind. Then the parachute deploys. The rapid fall slows into a controlled descent as the ground slowly comes into view. The first successful jump is unforgettable. But earning airborne qualification is not about completing a single jump. It is about proving the ability to remain calm, trust training, and perform safely under pressure. After completing the required jumps and meeting the school standards, the candidates move one step closer to their goal. Yet they know parachuting is only one skill among many. The challenges ahead will demand even greater confidence. Their next destination is the water, where they will begin one of the most physically and mentally demanding phases of the entire pipeline: combat dive training.
For most people, water is a place to relax. For future pararescuemen, it becomes another environment they must learn to survive in. After earning their airborne qualification, the candidates begin combat dive training, where confidence, discipline, and teamwork are tested beneath the surface. From the very first day, they discover that success underwater depends on one thing above all else: remaining calm. Every exercise is designed to build trust in both their equipment and their teammates. Candidates spend hours learning the fundamentals of military diving, including underwater navigation, communication techniques, equipment procedures, and emergency response. Unlike swimming in a pool, military diving often takes place in environments where visibility can be extremely limited. Sometimes the water is cold. Sometimes it is dark. And sometimes the only thing guiding a diver is training, discipline, and the teammate beside them. Underwater, panic is the greatest enemy. Even a small mistake can quickly become a serious problem. That is why instructors place such a strong emphasis on controlled breathing, clear thinking, and following established procedures under pressure. Every dive demands complete concentration.
Candidates must manage their equipment, monitor their surroundings, and continue accomplishing their objectives while staying composed in an environment that naturally increases stress. As the days pass, confidence slowly replaces uncertainty. Movements become smoother. Communication becomes more effective. The water, once intimidating, becomes another workplace where highly trained rescue specialists can operate safely and efficiently. By the end of combat dive training, the candidates have gained far more than diving skills. They have learned to remain focused in situations where fear could easily take control. But the pipeline is far from over. The next challenge will take them from beneath the water to thousands of feet above the earth. Soon, they will step out of an aircraft once again, this time from much higher altitudes, to begin military freefall training. By this point, every candidate has already learned to jump from an aircraft using a standard military parachute. Now, they must master an entirely new level of aerial skill. Welcome to military freefall training. Unlike conventional parachute operations, military freefall introduces candidates to high-altitude parachuting, where precision, awareness, and self-control become more important than ever. Training begins on the ground. Before stepping onto an aircraft, candidates spend countless hours learning body position, parachute systems, emergency procedures, equipment checks, and landing techniques.
Every movement is practiced repeatedly. The goal is simple: build habits that remain reliable under pressure. Only after demonstrating consistent performance on the ground do candidates progress to live jumps. Inside the aircraft, the atmosphere is quiet. Each candidate performs one final equipment inspection before receiving the signal to move toward the open door. Far below, the landscape stretches to the horizon. When the jump command is given, they step into open air. For several seconds, there is nothing but rushing wind. Every movement of the body affects stability and direction. Small adjustments become critical as candidates learn to maintain controlled flight before deploying their parachute at the appropriate point in the descent. The challenge is not speed. The challenge is precision. Landing safely, controlling the parachute, and arriving exactly where intended are all essential skills for a rescue specialist who may one day operate in remote or difficult terrain. With every successful jump, confidence grows.
The sky no longer feels unfamiliar. It becomes another environment where discipline, preparation, and training guide every decision. But there is still one final lesson every future pararescueman must learn. Before they can rescue others anywhere in the world, they must first prove they can survive almost anywhere themselves. Their next destination is one of the most demanding survival courses in the U.S. military: SERE training. By now, the candidates have learned to operate in the air and beneath the water. The next challenge teaches them how to survive when everything goes wrong. SERE stands for Survival, Evasion, Resistance, and Escape. It is one of the most respected survival training programs in the U.S. military, preparing personnel for situations where they may become isolated in unfamiliar or hostile environments. The purpose of the course is not to create superheroes. It is to build calm, disciplined professionals who can make sound decisions when resources are limited and conditions are uncertain. Training begins with the fundamentals of survival. Candidates learn how to assess their surroundings, protect themselves from the environment, locate safe water sources when possible, build temporary shelter, and manage their energy while waiting for recovery or rescue.
Just as important as physical survival is mental resilience. Long hours, changing weather, fatigue, and uncertainty all place pressure on a person's ability to think clearly. Throughout the course, candidates are expected to stay focused, adapt to changing situations, and continue making responsible decisions even when conditions become uncomfortable. The course also emphasizes the importance of discipline, communication, and following established procedures during isolation and recovery scenarios. Every lesson reinforces the same principle. Preparation is often the difference between panic and survival. By the end of SERE training, candidates understand that survival is not about strength alone. It is about knowledge, patience, teamwork, and the ability to remain composed when circumstances are at their worst. For a future pararescueman, these skills may one day mean the difference between bringing someone home safely or not. But despite everything they have accomplished, one of the most important parts of their journey still lies ahead. A pararescueman is not only expected to reach the injured, he must also know how to save them. The next phase of training transforms these candidates into highly skilled emergency medical professionals through intensive EMT and paramedic education.
By this stage of the journey, the candidates have learned to jump from aircraft, operate underwater, survive in harsh environments, and perform under relentless pressure. But none of those skills matter if they cannot save a life. That is why one of the longest and most demanding parts of the pararescue pipeline focuses on emergency medicine. Future pararescuemen receive extensive medical education designed to prepare them for treating critically injured patients in challenging environments. The classroom quickly becomes just as demanding as the training field. Candidates study human anatomy, physiology, patient assessment, airway management, bleeding control, trauma care, and many other life-saving medical principles. Hours are spent reading, practicing procedures, and learning how to make accurate decisions when every second matters. Knowledge alone is not enough. Medical skills must be practiced repeatedly until they become second nature. Candidates train in realistic emergency scenarios where they must assess injuries, prioritize treatment, communicate clearly with teammates, and remain calm under intense pressure. Some situations simulate aircraft crashes. Others involve battlefield casualties or remote rescue environments where advanced medical care may be hours away. The goal is always the same: keep the patient alive until they can be safely transported to a higher level of medical care. As training progresses, candidates learn that technical knowledge is only part of the job.
A successful pararescueman must also earn the trust of the people depending on them during the worst moments of their lives. Compassion, professionalism, and clear decision-making become just as important as physical strength. By the time this phase is complete, the candidates are no longer simply athletes who can endure hardship. They have become highly trained rescue specialists, capable of providing advanced emergency care in some of the world's most demanding conditions. After years of preparation, sacrifice, and relentless training, only one final milestone remains. The moment every candidate has been working towards since the very beginning: earning the Maroon Beret and joining the proud tradition of the United States Air Force Pararescue. Years of preparation, thousands of hours of training, countless moments of doubt, exhaustion, and sacrifice. Every challenge has led to this moment. The candidates who have successfully completed the demanding training pipeline now stand together for a ceremony they have dreamed about since the day they first joined the Air Force. One by one, they receive the Maroon Beret. For most people, it may look like a simple piece of military headgear. But for a United States Air Force pararescueman, it represents something far greater.
It symbolizes perseverance, professionalism, selfless service, and the willingness to place the lives of others before their own. Along with the beret comes a responsibility that cannot be measured by rank or qualification. From this day forward, these men are expected to answer one of the military's most difficult calls. When someone is injured, isolated, or trapped in an environment where few others can reach them, they go. Whether the mission takes them into remote mountains, open oceans, disaster zones, or combat environments, the expectation remains the same. Reach the patient. Provide life-saving care. Bring them home. The years of preparation are finally complete. The student has become a pararescueman. But earning the Maroon Beret is not the end of the journey. It is only the beginning of a career where every mission carries real consequences, and every successful rescue is measured not by medals, but by the lives that return home. Now, the training gives way to reality. The classroom is behind them. The missions are about to begin.
For a pararescueman, graduation is not the finish line. It is the moment when years of training are finally put to the test. No mission is ever exactly the same. Every rescue begins with uncertainty. A distress signal is received. A pilot has gone down. A special operations team reports a critically injured teammate. A rescue helicopter is launched. Within minutes, the pararescue team is preparing equipment, reviewing the situation, and moving toward an unknown environment where every second could matter. Sometimes the mission leads into rugged mountain terrain. Strong winds, steep cliffs, and limited landing areas force the crew to adapt. If the helicopter cannot land safely, a pararescueman may be lowered by hoist to reach the injured person. The priority is always the same. Reach the patient safely. Assess the injuries. Stabilize the condition. Prepare for evacuation. On another mission, the ocean becomes the battlefield. Rough waves, limited visibility, and changing weather create an entirely different challenge. The rescue specialist enters the water, reaches the survivor, provides immediate medical care when necessary,
and works with the crew to complete a safe recovery. Not every mission takes place during military operations. Natural disasters can leave entire communities isolated. Floods, earthquakes, hurricanes, and wildfires may destroy roads, communication systems, and local infrastructure.
When conventional rescue teams cannot immediately reach survivors, specially trained military rescue personnel may be called to assist alongside other emergency response agencies. These operations demand more than courage. They demand patience, communication, teamwork, and precise medical judgment. Every patient is different. Every environment presents new risks. Every decision must balance speed with safety. For a pararescueman, success is rarely measured by recognition. Most people will never know their names. The greatest reward is far simpler. Watching an injured pilot breathe again. Seeing a wounded teammate safely loaded onto an evacuation aircraft. Returning a survivor to family members who feared they would never come home. That is the mission. Not glory, not headlines. Saving lives when hope seems almost lost. Because in the end, the words stitched onto the pararescue crest are more than a motto. They are a promise that others may live. Behind every successful rescue are years of experience that few people ever see. As pararescuemen continue their careers, their responsibilities begin to change. The newest members arrive eager to prove themselves. Veteran operators become mentors. They pass on lessons that cannot be learned from a textbook. How to stay calm when a patient is fighting for life. How to make difficult decisions under pressure. And how to lead by example when others are counting on you.
Training never truly ends. Even after earning the Maroon Beret, pararescuemen continue to sharpen their skills through regular medical education, rescue exercises, physical conditioning, and joint training with other military units and emergency response teams. The standards remain just as high as they were on the first day of training. Technology evolves, equipment improves, rescue techniques continue to advance, so the learning never stops. Years of service also bring personal sacrifices. Long deployments, time away from family, missed birthdays, and the uncertainty that comes with responding to dangerous missions become part of the profession. Balancing duty and personal life is a challenge shared by many military families. For those who remain in service, leadership becomes their next mission. They are no longer responsible only for completing the mission themselves. They are responsible for preparing the next generation to do it safely, professionally, and with the same commitment to excellence. Eventually, every career reaches its final chapter. After years of service, training, and countless hours spent helping others, the time comes to remove the uniform for the last time. The missions may end, but the values remain. Discipline, integrity, compassion, and an unwavering commitment to serving others. Those lessons continue long after military service is over. Because for many pararescuemen, the mission was never just a job. It became a way of life. A reminder that someone, somewhere, may one day depend on their training, their judgment, and their willingness to risk everything for a complete stranger. Many of the missions carried out by pararescuemen will never make international headlines. Many acts of courage will never be captured by cameras. And many lives saved will never know the names of the people who rescued them. But that has never been the purpose of the profession. The mission has always been greater than recognition. It has always been about service. About answering the call when others cannot. About bringing hope into places where hope seems impossible. For every pararescueman, the greatest achievement is not simply completing one of the world's most demanding military training pipelines.
It is earning the trust to protect human life in moments when it matters most. Because in the end, the true measure of a pararescueman is not how many awards they receive, not how many difficult courses they complete, and not how many dangerous missions they fly. It is the number of lives forever changed because they chose to answer a call that few people are willing to accept: that others may live. Those 4 words are more than a motto. They are the promise that defines every United States Air Force pararescueman. Thank you for watching.